Alright. So, for the purposes of the tier list, every weapon will not be the main weapon. We're gonna have it as your secondary weapon so that you always have like ammo and stuff. So right off the bat, we can do the bad weapons. The weapons that nobody uses in their levels, and for good reason. And right away, we can put Tornado and... let's see, what else is low tier? Time Stop. Peppermints. They're all pretty low tier. Blizzard Attack. That's a low tier weapon. Command Select. I'm gonna put in F tier. That is some of the worst weapon that you can actually have. Like, it's hard to design a level around. It's slow. It's cumbersome. You can only have one thing selected at a time. It's not a good weapon. Let's see. Spark Shot, I'm also going to put as an F tier weapon. It might be the only F tier damaging weapon. I'm not sure about that yet, but it might be. So Tornado Hold, or not Tornado Hold, Tornado Blow, I think this is a low tier weapon because you can only shoot it 4 times. It is a screen clearing attack, and it does have some mobility to let you jump higher, but I don't think that's enough to merit using it only 4 times. I think that's pretty low, in my opinion. Time Stop, I think that's pretty low too, because it doesn't damage anything, and even as a weakness of a boss, it only does half their damage, and the whole time you're sitting there, just waiting for nothing because everything is time stopped. Peppermints, they deal the same amount of damage as the Buster, so there's nothing really special about them, except that they have a awkward angle and you can miss a lot of your shots. You do have a lot of ammo for them, so you can spam them a lot, but I mean, you can also spam your Buster a lot, so it's kind of a trade-off. Not really a good weapon. And then you have Blizzard Attack. Blizzard Attack is probably the worst ice weapon in the game. It's slow. It actually starts off behind you, so if a level uses that mechanic, I made a troll level with that once. If you use Blizzard Attack, it sends lasers from behind you to kill you. Not a very good weapon. Let's see, anything else that's in the D or F tier? I'll put Super Arm in the D tier as well. It doesn't have too much ammo. You need to place it on the ground before you can throw it, and then when you do throw it, chances are you're going to miss the enemy as well, because it's hard to hit. So I think that's also a pretty low tier weapon. It does have pretty good mobility. You can use it to stack boxes and stuff. But I think overall as a weapon, it doesn't hold up as well as most everything else. Rain Flush? No, Rain Flush is good. That's going to be up there. We'll put it up there somewhere, but it's not a D tier weapon. Let's see. Those are all pretty good. I want to say Gyro Attack is a low tier weapon, but I don't think it is. I think it's probably a C or B tier, but it is slow and cumbersome to use, so I'm not sure about that one. Noise Crush and Wild Coil are both really weird weapons. They are both pretty bad, but I don't think they are bottom of the tier list. Oh, Flame Sword. Flame Sword's a weird one. It is either a D tier weapon if you are using Roll or Mega Man or Proto Man, and if you're using Base, it's like an A tier weapon because you have the mobility to like dash jump and stuff like that. But I think majority of the time, Flame Sword is a pretty poor weapon. Maybe I'll put it into C tier. It's not a great weapon, but yeah. Perfect Freeze. That's also a pretty low tier weapon. I'll put that into C. It has a lot of ammo. It does not have a lot of damage output. Buster, Jet Adapter, Power Adapter. All the Buster shots I will put in A tier, except for bases, which I will put in B tier. And I will put the Broom in S tier. I don't like using the Broom, but because the Broom can go past damage immunity for bosses and do combos, it ends up doing a lot more damage than any of the other Buster or main weapons in the game. I don't like using Roll, but it needs to be said that it's a really good weapon. Proto Strike's not here, is it? No, Proto Strike's not here. Yeah, Proto Strike is broken too. If it's Proto Strike, it's an S tier. If it's not Proto Strike, it's just a regular Buster, A tier. Alright, let's move on to the rest of the C tier weapons. There's going to be a lot more C tier weapons than B tier weapons, I think. So, Treble Boost is probably C tier. It uses its ammo really quickly. Where does our mom rank as a weapon? I don't know, she's pretty deadly. Yeah, Treble Boost, it uses its ammo pretty quickly, and then it shoots in 3 directions, which can be kind of cumbersome. Also, if you're flying through anything that requires like tight maneuvering, you like wiggle and wobble all over the place. Not a great weapon. Ballad Cracker. I will put that also in a C tier weapon. It has lots of damage output, and you have good ammo for it, but you can only have one on screen at a time, and it's a pretty slow weapon, so if you miss your enemy, you're gonna have to wait for the next opportunity to shoot. Not a great weapon. Yeah, explosive metal blade, but much slower. Let's see. Mirror Buster. I will put Mirror Buster also at a C tier. It's not used very often, and it's also a little bit harder to use than other reflecting weapons. When you have something like Shine or Proto Shield, you can just use them and they will send the whatever you reflected back at the same direction. Mirror Buster will always reflect in front of it, which means if you have a metal man that's jumping or something, he's up high, and you use Mirror Buster, you're just going to miss him because it's going to fly under his feet. Oh, Thunderwool. I forgot this weapon. Definitely D tier weapon. It's slow. You miss a lot of your shots. You need to wait for it to spawn. It has a very weird radius, and it also has limited ammo. It's not a good weapon either. It does have pretty good attack if you do hit, but it's not really worth it. You could name every single one of these weapons. I mean, I'm trying to name every single one of these weapons. Jewel Satellite above sea? Jewel Satellite is a... let's see. It's probably a B tier shield. Possibly A tier shield. But I'm going to keep it in B. Jewel Satellite is pretty strong for damage output. There's a lot of enemies it can kill without despawning, so like tellies and mets and basic enemies. So you can just turn it on once and then just walk through the majority of a level without ever having to shoot it again. It deflects shots, so if you have you know, a cowboy shooting bullets at you, those bullets will go right at the cowboy. Not only that, but you can press the shoot button again to throw the shield for a ranged attack. So it actually has like everything you want in the shield. Let's see, what else is in C tier? Ice Slasher. Definitely a C tier weapon. It's fast, but it doesn't do any damage. It stops enemies in their tracks. Actually, it's probably a D tier weapon. It's maybe an F tier weapon. I'm not sure. I'm kind of torn. It's definitely more usable than Spark Shot, but it doesn't do any damage. So you have a chance to like go underneath your enemies and stuff. One advantage that Ice Slasher has over Spark Shot is you can switch your weapon and the enemies will still be frozen. Spark Shot, if you switch your weapon, their damage immunity goes away. So in that sense, if you're going to freeze them for something like Topspin, Ice Slasher is the way to go. Block Dropper. It's somewhere between B and C. I'll put them in B. It has really high damage output. Very limited ammo. It can hit almost 2/3 of the screen. But it's not a very good weapon either. Triple Blade caught my eye. That's an S tier weapon. Hits in 3 directions. You can jump to change the arc, so instead of shooting up and straight and upright, you can shoot downwards. Stand next to a boss, do triple damage. It's one of the best weapons in Mega Man, not just Mega Man Maker, but like Mega Man itself. It's really strong, really OP. Bounce Ball also does that, except Bounce Ball will also bounce around the room. So unless you're good at canceling Bounce Ball, you are going to end up hitting the enemy and doing like 1 damage, and then your next shot will do 3 times the damage, and back to 1. It's more finicky than Triple Blade, but it still has that power output. I don't know where Shedrill is. Water Shield. As far as shields go, this is a C tier weapon. It's not a very strong shield. It breaks pretty easily. What does it give you? 8 or 10 water droplets around you? Shoots around in an arc. It's pretty good, but it's not the best. It does absorb projectiles, except they break, and then they can slip through the gaps and still smack you in the face. It's not, as far as shields go, it's not as good as many of the other shields. It's not the worst weapon, but it's not the best either. Let's see, what's next on this tier that catches my eye? Air Shooter. Where do you think Air Shooter should go? Air Shooter is probably a C tier weapon too, I think. It does a lot of damage, but it's almost never used, and it has a weird angle to shoot. So I think Air Shooter is probably a C tier weapon, but I think it could have potential to go higher if people used it more and there's more tech with the weapon. Leaf Shield? I can do Leaf Shield. Leaf Shield, I'm gonna put as an A tier weapon. Although I did say Jewel Satellite was probably the best shield, and it probably is. Leaf Shield in Mega Man Maker is a little bit broken. If you're holding a direction, like left or right, and you shoot the weapon, it doesn't use any ammo, and you can run through like every enemy. If you use it and don't press anything, it'll just stand there and rip enemies apart, like mini bosses, Bubble Man crying out of water. Anything that doesn't move, essentially, will just get ripped apart. Can we rattle off all the obvious S tier? Yeah, we can rattle off all the S tier weapons, sure. So, Leaf Shield, that's definitely an A tier weapon. Alright, Redshift, S tier weapons. Let's get them out of the way. Charge Kick, S tier. Takes away your damage, your iframe, so you can go through red lasers. You can double jump or triple jump. You can slide through enemies and through projectiles. Obviously, it's an S tier weapon. Like, there's no question about that. Damage-wise, it's not bad either. There's really nothing wrong with Charge Kick. Another S tier weapon is, where are you? Concrete. It has good damage. It has decent ammo, 14 shots. It can make mobility platforms and walls and help you climb and whatever. And on top of that, for like weaker enemies, it just does an instant kill. One bad thing about the concrete is it doesn't give you any ammo, but that's okay. Broom needs to be bumped down. Broom can't be bumped down because it's so OP. Let's see, what else is S tier? NATO, S tier. You can fly with it. You can do a lot of damage with it. You go pretty fast with it. The only downside is it only has limited ammo. I think it's 8 shots or 9 shots. But it's still a really good weapon. It might be one of the most overpowered weapons if it's your main weapon in Mega Man Maker. Topspin? No, Topspin is not an S tier weapon. Unfortunately, Topspin in Mega Man Maker is not S tier. It's probably an A or a B tier. It's okay, and it's used a lot to like cross gaps and stuff. It has a lot of mobility uses, but as a weapon for damage output and usability outside of like Kaizos and stuff, it's not very good. So I'm gonna have to put that in like a B tier. I want to put it higher because I like using Topspin, but it's not that good of a weapon. Star Shield. Star Shield, I'm also going to put in A or S. I think A. Gives you extra height. You can also call it without using any ammo, and you can break things like dust blocks or weapon blocks without using any ammo. Yeah, and plus jumping high. You really can't go wrong with that. It's an amazing weapon. Honeybee. I am torn on Honeybee on Hornet Chaser. I like it, but it's not a good weapon. I'll put it in C tier because it has some interesting uses. Felipe made a level where you need to escort a health from the start of the level to the end of the level, and the Honeybee just follows you with health behind your back. It's really cool. But there's not enough levels that showcase this ability, so it's going to be a lower weapon. Dive Missile, that's an S tier. Auto aim, big explosion, fast. I think you can have 3 on screen at the same time. It has plenty of ammo. I don't know exactly how many shots, but it has a lot. So, Dive Missile, definitely up at the top. Center Flash. That is also an S tier weapon. Basically anything that takes away your iframes from lasers, it's going to be a high weapon. This one also stops time, also clears the screen, also does a lot of damage. You can walk on spikes. Like, it's a truly overpowered weapon. The Honeybee has more utility than all the weapons on that tier. It does. It does have a lot more. You were right. But as an attacking weapon, it's not good, and it's not utilized in enough levels, in my opinion, for it to be higher in the list. Although I do like the Bee, I don't think it deserves to go any higher than this. Crash Bomber is an A tier weapon. It has very limited ammo, and it is a slower weapon, but its explosion can do multiple hits of damage, even on bosses. So you really can't go wrong with it. It's really strong. If you haven't used it a lot, I recommend you start using it. Very good weapon. Bouncy Tornado. Bouncy Tornado I will put in A or B. I think maybe B tier. It doesn't have very good damage, and just like Concrete, it does instant kill the enemies. So you don't get any ammo or health back from it. You can bounce, which is good. The only bad side about bouncing, as opposed to the Concretes making blocks, is that sometimes there's like spikes or a laser above you or something, and you just take damage. It's also a little bit more finicky. You need to be about like half a tile away from the wall. Maybe an A tier. I don't know. It's A or B. Yeah, Center Flash lets you walk on spikes, lets you walk through lasers, walk through enemies. It's incredibly overpowered. Alright, the one that Redshift talked about earlier, Rain Flush. Rain Flush, in my opinion, is an A tier weapon as well. It does really good weapon damage. It hits multiple times, even on bosses. It lets you jump over larger gaps and stuff like that. It doesn't have a lot of ammo. I think you can only use it 6 times. But it's definitely one of the better weapons in Mega Man Maker, I think. Yeah, you do get limited shots with it. You're right, Redshift. But it is also a screen clear, so... It's probably S. Only downside is startup and ammo. Yeah, startup and ammo. I think those are a big thing. The ammo is the biggest thing for Rain Flush. It is, like I said, a screen clear attack. It does a lot of damage, but I think it needs to be said that it could definitely have more ammo. Magma Bazooka, A tier. Probably should be S tier as well, just like Triple Blade, because it can hit multiple things. However, it doesn't do as much damage as Triple Blade unless you charge it, and charging it takes time. I think it has more potential, but it's just not used very well. Let's see. Command Missile. That is a solid B tier weapon. You can only have one on screen at the time, but you can aim it anywhere you want around the room. There's a lot of levels that use this design really well. There's also a lot of levels that use this design really poorly. Hard to say where this weapon should be, but I think a B tier is a good place for it. Solar Blaze. I'm torn between A or B for this one. I'm going to say B as well, just because it's a little bit slower, and unless you hit an enemy, you need to wait for it to explode. It also has limited ammo. It does do a lot of damage though, so it has a lot of potential to be a A-tier weapon, but I think it's probably a B-tier weapon. I like item 1 as basic as item utilities get. If it hits, it's great. Yeah, if Solar Blaze hits, it does a lot of damage. It's an amazing weapon, but it's really slow, so I'm relegated to put it into B tier. Okay, this one should probably be an S tier, but I'm going to move it down to B tier. It has some of the best mobility potential of all the weapons in the game. It's fast, you can climb up walls, you can do so much with it. I've seen puzzles using it, you know, following a block up a wall slowly. There's so much that you can do with it. But its damage is garbage. The only way to do full damage, even for a boss, is you need to let the wheel go, and the wheel needs to actually hit the boss itself. If you stand next to the boss with the wheel and like melee range him, it only does 1 hit of damage. That alone is enough to take this down a few levels. It should be higher, but it's not. You put Solar and Block in D. They're both really strong weapons when they hit. That's why they're in B tier. Alright, Pile Driver. This is a solid A tier weapon. You have great mobility, you have great damage, you can break blocks, you can go through lasers. The only downside, there's 2 downsides with it. One is the ammo. There's not enough ammo for it, I think. And the second downside for it is if you hit a wall, you'll ricochet back, and then you can like go into a laser or something like that, take damage where you don't want to. But other than that, it's a fantastic weapon. Scramble Thunder. Scramble Thunder is also an A-tier weapon. Scramble Thunder is strong. You can use it to float in the air up to 3 times on screen, so if you have like a pit, you can just keep spamming it over the ground and you can get a long distance. Let's see, what else about Scramble Thunder? A lot of people don't know this. Scramble Thunder, if used on fuse crawlers, will actually activate them so that you don't need fuse rails to shoot a laser. So Scramble Thunder is extremely useful, but underutilized. Firestorm. Firestorm is a definite S tier weapon. It gives you a shield when you shoot it. It gives you 28 shots. It has lots of damage output. It's fast. As far as like long-range weapons go, it's probably one of the best weapons that you want in a level if you're gonna try to like run it fast. Amazing, amazing weapon. Hyper Bomb. I like Hyper Bomb, but I know nobody else does. And because of that, I will put it into a D tier. It has lots of damage. You can aim it up and down. It has a big explosion. But people hate it. And I don't know why people hate it. You almost never see it used in weapons, in levels. There's a lot of things you can do with it, like throwing it on springs, like we saw in the last level. Yeah, you can aim it with up and down. And if it hits an enemy, it explodes immediately. If this was solely my list and I wasn't taking other people's considerations, I would put it in A or B. But because I know so many people hate it, I'll put it in D to make you guys happy. Listen to your heart, ignore the haters? Okay, fine. I'll listen to my heart. It's a good weapon, and you guys should use it more, because it's really powerful. Oil. It's my list. Oil. I don't like oil. I think oil is kind of a boring weapon. I know that for Kaizo, people love it. I know Marino loves oil. I don't enjoy using it. I don't like long oil water levels. I don't like oil jumps over spiky pits. I don't like oil up walls. I don't think its tech is extremely nice. There are some cool things I do like about oil, like how you can use it underwater and it'll like rise up. That's pretty cool. It does have its uses, but for me personally, I don't like it as much as other weapons. Rolling Cutter. I don't like Rolling Cutter. It has pretty good damage output, it has pretty good ammo. It's pretty slow though, so unless you're good at canceling, you're going to have to wait for it to come back to you. If you're good at canceling, you can shoot it, cancel it, go back to it, shoot it, cancel it, go back to it, shoot it. And you can get really good DPS with the Rolling Cutter if you're good with it. If you're not good with it, it's not a good weapon. Elect Beam. Elect Beam is going to be A or B. I'm going to say B tier weapon. It's a little bit slower than other weapons, so same with Rolling Cutter, you're going to have to cancel it to get good DPS. But it shoots up, down, and horizontally at the same time, and it can break super arm blocks. And it can also hit the fuse extenders and fuse crossers. So that's pretty good. I don't know. It's probably a C tier weapon as well, I think, but I'm going to keep it in B tier. Time Slow, I'll put that in D tier with the other time stop weapon. It doesn't really do much. If it's the weakness of a boss, you're just going to have to wait until you can use it again. I guess it has its place and its uses, but it's not a great time-stopping weapon. If you're looking for a good time-stopping weapon, here's one. Bright Stopper, or Flash Stopper. I'm going to say this is an S tier weapon. It has pretty good ammo. You can use it lots of times. It stops all things on the screen, so Yoku blocks, splash platforms, concrete platforms, whatever. When it is being used, you have a regular Buster, which we already said a Buster is an A tier weapon. So Buster on top of the time freeze makes it an amazing weapon. Even better, any shielded weapon, shielded enemies like Joe's, their shields are inactive while they are frozen in time. Yamato Spear. Yamato Spear is going to be an A tier weapon. It has pretty good output, and it is a fast weapon. But because it's so fast, you tend to go through your ammo really quickly. So I'm going to say that's an A tier weapon. Atomic Fire. Atomic Fire is going to be a B tier weapon. C tier weapon, maybe. It has pretty good damage output, and you can charge it for even more damage. But there's just nothing you can really do with it. There's not enough interactions, there's not enough uses in the game to merit it being any higher on the list. Bubble? Bubble Lead. I'm not going to put it in S tier, I will put it in A tier though. It has crazy high damage output. As far as water weapons go, it's definitely the strongest water weapon. It has good ammo. It crawls along the floor and it will fall down any gaps and keep going. It'll put out fires. Very good weapon. Metal Blade. I am going to put that in D tier. we did say that Ballad Cracker is C tier, and this is a better version of Ballad Cracker, which it is. So why am I putting it lower on the list? So it has less damage output. It does have more more shots that you can have on screen at a time, which is good. But you also, just like Ballad Cracker, you need to stop to shoot it, which means you're leaving yourself vulnerable unless you jump all the time. And its damage output isn't that good, so I'm gonna say it's a D tier weapon. Possibly a C tier weapon. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I'll keep it in D tier though. Quick Boomerang. That's probably a C tier weapon. It's really fast. You can have lots on screen at the same time. Very limited range. Very, very limited range. Gemini Laser. Huge damage potential. Bounces around the screen. You can have more than one on screen at the same time, so just shoot a bunch and then it'll just bounce around and hit everything on the screen. Such an amazing, amazing weapon. Hard Knuckle. Scarf, I know that you put this in your D tier, and I'm going to put it in my B tier. Possibly A tier, actually. So, Hard Knuckle is a weird weapon. It is slow, which is probably its biggest downfall. But it has good damage. When you're fighting a boss, especially one that has like simple AI, it will just continue hitting them over and over and over and over again. So anything like Crash Man, Bubble Man, Fireman, Iceman, anything that doesn't jump a whole lot, you can just stand there with one hard knuckle and it'll just kill the boss. Top Man, who else? I don't know, there's so many. Amazing weapon. Not only that, but you can aim it up and down. It is the slowest projectile, yeah. You can aim it up and down though, and if you have things like gabules on the floor, you can make a level where you need to chase the gabules and lead them all the way to the end of the level by pressing up and down and like following the hard knuckle, which are a really fun level idea. If you haven't played those kinds of levels, I recommend you try some because they are super fun, and it might change your opinion on hard knuckle. Magnet Missile. That is an A tier weapon. Very limited ammo, very high damage, homes in on the enemies, goes up or down, or straight. Good weapon. Needle. Most people think Needle will be an F tier weapon or a D tier weapon. I will put him in a B tier. Needle, you can have 5 on screen at the same time. They stick in the enemy for additional damage. When they are done, they fall off of the enemy and they can hit anything below them. So if you have more enemies below, they will hit those. If you have dust blocks, they'll hit those. If you have needle weapon blocks, they'll hit those. Needle has a lot of uses and a lot of potential that people don't use it for. But it is a super fun weapon. And if you build a level specifically around Needle, like I did for NRS Microgravity Starfield, it might give you some ideas on how Needle can actually be used effectively and in ways that you probably didn't even know it could. I like Needle a lot. Search Snake. That is a C or D tier weapon. It does the same damage as a Buster, it climbs up walls, and it can go down walls as well. As soon as it touches a floor, it basically dies. Sometimes it goes in gaps, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not quite sure about that. If you're looking for a good use of it, Redshift made a puzzle level called Slytherin, which is a search snake based puzzle, and it is probably a good hour or so before you figure out the answer for it. It's an amazing weapon in the right circumstances. In a regular level, in irregular circumstances, like the troll level I played today, Search Snake is total butt. Shadowblade. Shadowblade I will put in B tier. It has higher damage than Metal Blade. It can also be shot on different angles. It comes back to you, so you have chance to hit an enemy that you missed. The only downside to it for me is it has a very annoying sound every time you shoot it. Drill is S or A. I might put it in S tier. Very high damage output. You can blow it up as you go. It's a fast weapon. You can only have one of it on screen at any given point in time. Maybe I'll put it into A tier just because you can only have one on screen at a time. But it's a very good weapon. Dust Crusher. Again, very good weapon. Shoots straight forward. It explodes on contact. Nothing really too much to say about this. You can only have one on screen at a time, so it's a little bit slower than other weapons. B tier. Pharaoh Shot. B tier as well. You can aim it up and down and charge it. If you shoot the regular shots, it's not very special. If you charge it, that's when this weapon starts to get really good. Ring Boomerang, I will put in A tier. Very strong weapon, comes back to you, can grab items. There's a few levels that I've seen where you need to continuously take damage and then heal yourself with Ring Boomerang while you're playing the level. Those levels are a lot of fun. I recommend them. Skull Barrier, that's an A tier shield. You can walk on spikes. I mean, that alone is an amazing ability, so yeah, that's an A tier. I don't want to do the utilities until the end, so I'm saving all those. Crystal. I hate this weapon. C tier. It has pretty good damage, but it's slow. I don't know. I don't really like that weapon too much. It does break and go multiple places. I don't like it. Gravity. It is a screen clearing attack. It kills everything. Lots of damage. Flashing white everywhere. I'm just recently, like 3-4 weeks ago, I made a Kaizo level using Gravity Hold as the only weapon in the level. Which is, if you want to play the Kaizo races, I recommend that one. I think that has some very good, interesting use of Gravity Hold, which is again, screen clearing weapon, so it just kills everything. So designing a level around that, I thought was pretty cool. Crystal's good in boss rooms, doesn't break on enemies. True. True. Gyro attack. I don't know. It's too slow. It has good damage output. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Maybe it'll be B tier someday if people start using it and make some good tech with it. But I think for right now, it's going to be a C tier weapon. Napalm, that's a D tier weapon, unfortunately. It has good damage, and you can have a few of them on the screen at one point in time, but nobody likes using them. They have no extra tech. They only last for like 3 seconds before they explode. They're kind of slow and they just crawl along the floor. I wish there was some kind of special interaction with them, but there's just nothing, and for that, I'm gonna have to say they're a D tier weapon. Power Stone. Marino's gonna hate me for this one. I think it's a D tier weapon as well. It has a lot of damage, but you miss a lot of your enemies. It has potential to be a screen clearing weapon if you're using it in the right spot. But it also doesn't have that much ammo. So it's not like Gravity Hold. It's more akin to Tornado Blow than anything. And I don't like this weapon. Water Wave. Outside of water, it is a D tier weapon. Inside water, it is a B tier weapon. So I will put it in the middle at C tier. Yeah. There's not really much to say. It crawls along the floor, good ammo, good damage. In water is where you really see it shine, though. Flame Blast, C tier weapon, nothing too special about it, just makes a fire. Night Crusher, again, very simple weapon, good damage, flies at angles up or down, comes back to you, good ammo, nothing really too much to say. Plant Shield. This is going to be an A tier weapon as well. It heals you. I mean, how many times in Mega Man have you needed healing? It's pretty self-explanatory. It's one of the best shields in the game. You can't really ask for much more than that. Tomahawk. That is a C tier weapon along with Flame Blast and Night Crusher. It's nothing special, it just shoots upwards. It can glitch in Mega Man Maker and give everyone full weapon inventory of this. I don't know. Not a very special weapon. Better to use this than the Buster if you have the glitch. If you don't have the glitch, then it's pretty low tier. Danger Wrap. Danger Wrap I will put in B tier. Has a lot of uses. It has good damage output. You can drop it up or drop it down on the floor, or shoot it straight up in the air. You can catch enemies in a bubble and push them around the room. Has some uses. I'll put that in B tier. Freeze Cracker. That is a slow weapon. That's going to be a C tier. It's not a bad ice attack, but I don't know. I don't really enjoy it too much either. Nice.
Nice.
Noise Crush.
Nice.
That is a C tier. You can charge it by shooting at a wall and coming back to yourself. Eventually, it will go through walls if you let it bounce back and forth enough. Its damage output is pretty low though, so it's not very special. Wild Coil as well is also a C tier. Bounces left and right. You can charge it. Actually, since you can charge, I'll put it up to B tier. If you hold up or down, the angles will change. If you hold up, they will bounce higher. If you hold down, they will do these little tiny baby bounces along the floor. It's not bad. Flash Bomb I will put in B tier as well. Yeah, Coil is a very odd one. Flash Bomb is going to be a B tier. It can hit multiple times straight ahead of you. It has a pretty big explosion. I don't know, nothing really too special, it's just an explosive weapon. Mega Ball. S tier. So Mega Ball can be used as a kick weapon. You can aim the ball up, or you can keep it at the regular angle. You can bounce on it for an additional jump height, or you can shoot it in the air and like fly with it. Yeah, it's a really good mobility weapon. It's a really good attack weapon. And if it's your primary weapon of the level, it's super easy to like cheese the whole level. So yeah, it's a really good weapon to have. Thunderclaw. That's an A tier. Lots of damage, lots of ammo. You can swing on pegs. Yeah, you can only have one on screen at a time, and if you are walking, you do need to stop. But it also comes back to you as soon as you shoot it and it hits an enemy. So if there's a big guy in front of you, like a big eye or one of those like shield guys, you can just spam it, and it'll do a lot of damage really fast. Tornado Hold, definitely A tier. It does multiple hits. It can let you reach high places. You have lots of ammo with it. It's, yeah, a pretty good weapon. I don't know where to put this one. I'm gonna say D tier. It's slow, and it has very limited ammo. It is an instant kill attack for most enemies, but I don't think that's enough reason to use it, just because of how slow and cumbersome it is to use. Laser Lance. Yeah, it can kill gyres. It can kill a lot of things. It can even suck into enemy projectiles too, which is a little bit broken sometimes. But unless it's like your main weapon of the level, it's really hard to justify using it a lot. Laser Lance, I will put that in a high B. It has pretty good damage. It's fast. Actually, I will put that in A. I will put that in A. It's like a Buster, but better because it can go through shields. It does good damage. Shoots straight ahead of you. Has good ammo. Very spammable. That'll be right next to Busters, probably just a little bit above Busters. Yeah, that's exactly right, Blue Gear. A lot of ammo. I think A is a good spot for that. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might even be an S tier spam weapon. Because if I'm saying that the Buster is an A tier, then this has got to be above that, because it can go through shields. It's a good weapon. Maybe a little bit broken, but it's good. Shine. Shine is fantastic, and I will put that in S tier. You can hover with it, you can reflect projectiles with it, you can stand next to enemies, to bosses, and spam it. It has a lot of uses in this game, and I think S tier is a good spot for it. Yeah, use Trident over Buster in every situation. Pretty much. Pretty much. Alright. Now for the utilities. I wanted to save those for last, because they're a little bit special. Some are better than others, obviously. As far as utilities go, I'm just going to order them on this list down here. I'm not going to put them in the actual tier list, just because they're not really weapons. But in terms of how they help you in mobility of a level, I will order them here. So I think your best one is Magnet Beam and Item 1. If you have those two in your level, there's so much that you can do. You obviously want something that can fly, so Super Arrow, Rush Jet, Item 2, those are probably in the next category, and Proto Jet, we'll put that there too. There's just a lot that you can do with the flying ones as well. Item 3 is going to be at the bottom of the list. It's a pretty poopy weapon. Treble Boost is pretty poopy. Tango Jump and Tango Coil, we'll put those together with Rush Coil. Tango is the worst of those. Yeah, sure, Scarf, send it over. Tango is the worst of the coils. just because it's Mega Man 5 style, you need to jump with the cat. Although the cat does count as a semi-solid, so in the right situation, you can use it to slide through gaps with roll, which normally you can't do. Jet Adapter is pretty poopy. Same with the Flappy Bird and Tango Boost. Or, sorry, Treble Boost. You think Tango might be better? No way. No way. Absolutely not. Super Adapter is better than Jet Adapter, Power Adapter, and then Flappy Bird, I think. If I had to say my list, I think this would probably be it. I might need to look at this again and change things over some other time in the future. But I think this is fairly accurate to being my list.